Okay. So far what we have covered was Git, Terraform, how to create resources in AWS Cloud, what is the workflow, Terraform workflow, and how do we create different resources like VPC, EC2 instances, different EC2 instances like Amazon and Ubuntu instances. Today, what we are going to see is we are going to look at how do we convert this to a pipeline so that whenever you make some changes to your GitLab repository, the pipeline is automatically triggered and your jobs are running automatically. So what do you mean by continuous integration? Can someone brief what is continuous integration? Why CI is part of DevOps?
Continuous development, continuous build, deploy, testing, and continuous deployment. I mean, it's a sequence that happens automatically.
Okay, to some extent, the answer is fine. Continuous integration is all about validating the code which is being developed or which is just developed by the developer. Say, for example, you are working on a Terraform code which you modified just now, and then you probably introduced some changes or removed some changes, some of the removed some of the resources, or you added some extra resources, or changed your instance type, right? How do you validate whether that particular change is successfully visible or updated in the AWS console, right? For that, what you will do a Terraform plan, Terraform apply, and then you go to the console and see, right? Instead of this, if someone can pick it up and do, there is a change, and I want to run this Terraform plan and Terraform apply, that's called as continuous integration. As soon as your code is changed, automatically it picks up the change and then it does a validation. It does um, it does the work for you instead of you manually running it. That is what is continuous integration. For DevOps engineer or infrastructure DevOps engineer, it is at the level of Terraform code creation, Terraform code update. Whereas for the developers, it is with respect to the application development code or application feature. You have any questions at this point? Whatever I have explained.
No.
Others okay?
Okay, sir.
Sure.
So I'm going for the slideshow for now. I'll quickly explain few things. Hope you guys can see my screen. Is my screen visible?
No, Shepherd.
Oh, is it okay? I have not shared my screen. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So normally, how do we run our code? We go to the terminal and make some changes using the VI editor and then do a Terraform init and then do a Terraform plan and then Terraform apply. Correct?
Yes.
So what happens when you push your code, say, to GitLab, right? I'll just write it as GL. Say you push your code to GitLab and you want GitLab to take care of your CI. What should happen in this point? Any clue? Anybody has an idea? When you run it locally, on which platform are you running it? You're running it
GitBash.
GitBash, correct? So
Yes.
you have an interface, right? You have an GitBash interface. Interface is nothing but similar to browser, right? You have a browser to open your Amazon.in or any other website and then browse, right? That is called a browser interface or UI interface, whereas it is called command line interface. In that, you are running uh, Git commands in order to uh, push your changes, modify your changes. Apart from Git, you are also using Terraform init and Terraform apply. So you are running Git and you are also running Terraform commands. Correct? Anybody has any doubts on this so far? You're able to run Git commands and you're able to run Terraform commands on GitLab as a source, GitLab as your terminal, or GitLab as your interface. Anybody has any questions on this particular stuff, this understanding? If it's clear,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's clear.
oh.
Yes.
Say what happens when you want to trigger, when you want to get the thing run on GitLab, directly on the GitLab. So you probably require a medium to run your jobs, correct? When I say jobs, what does it mean? When I say job, what does it mean?
Work or action.
It's a script.
Correct, exactly. A script, a work or action. In our case, it is Terraform init, Terraform plan, Terraform apply. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in order to run our jobs, we require some kind of interface in which it will run. So that is called GitLab runner. GitLab runner. So we'll see more about this one in the upcoming classes. But just try to understand, this is something like it is opening a GitBash for you and running it for you. Like that kind of assumption, you keep it as of now. So I'm moving on to the next one. So what is your assumption as of now? You think that it is just opening a GitBash for you uh, on the GitLab server and then running your services for you, running your jobs for you. Okay. Say for example, if you do this commitments, you can assume that it is a push, and then you have a terminal here, and you're executing it. You are executing it. Whereas in terms of it as a GitLab CI, it has to be executed on a particular interface. That is nothing but your GitLab runner. So CD pipeline, we'll talk about CD pipeline later because I mean we are still in the CI side. That will be about moving from one stage to another stage, like from dev to test, test to stage, and stage to production. So that pipeline stage we have not come across. So we are only in the CI pipeline. So we are going to see only up to this much. Okay. So they are talking about EC2 GitLab runners. So we can, instead of simply opening a Git bash, or you cannot open Git bash because I mean you require at least one compute to be running. That could be an EC2 machine for you to run your jobs, or it could be a Docker container. So since we have not seen about Docker containers, you will not be able to understand 100%. But Docker container is just on top of your EC2 machine. Say, for example, if you are saying EC2 machine is this one, and Docker container it'll be just a small piece inside your EC2 machine, which is a very smaller piece, which can actually run your jobs, which can actually behave like a single operating system with a uh, minimal required versions of packages, libraries, and binaries. So it's an isolated uh, small operating system which is created for you to run a particular process or set up processes. Any explanation required further? The outer is
So
called EC. Yeah,
Docker is inside EC2. That's what
yeah.
you're telling.
It is always inside a virtual machine.
Okay.
Hope this is clear to everyone. So Docker cannot stand alone. It is not a standalone software. It should be inside a particular operating system. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So you can see that there is a GitLab runner which is mentioned that executes the commands. That runs specific set of commands. It is specific to application deployment. It is not specific to infrastructure deployment. That's why I'm not covering any of these things. It is for application deployment. So you will be running from your local machine, git add, git commit, git push, and then that automatically goes to the GitLab, and then from there your GitLab runner takes care of running the pipeline. It's almost the same thing, whatever I have explained so far. Moving on. So we'll talk about S3 bucket and DynamoDB table a little later, because I just want to cover how GitLab CI works, and after that we'll talk about storing the state file in S3 buckets and creating a log table in the DynamoDB. We'll talk about why lock is required, why state file storing in the remote S3 bucket is required. Okay, now we will move on to, I'll just end the show. So we'll move on to this particular page where you can go to your all docs DevOps and go to you can go to November 2024, go to 6th November and click on agenda.txt. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a local repository for you, and then push your changes to GitLab by creating a repository from your local machine, and then making the pipeline to run. So at first what we will do is I'll execute some of the commands based on the instructions I have. I'll do a git pull from my all docs DevOps. I'll do a git pull. Similarly, if you could also do it parallelly, or maybe after the class you can do it. I'll do a git pull to make sure all the changes are up to date. My local repository is up to date with the remote repository. And then what I'll do is next, I'll create the directory. All of you can also do it after the class. So this way you can do it. I'm basically creating a GitLab CI terraform -ec2 folder one step back. So if I do a pwd, it will be export DevOps, and then if I see ls, I will see that GitLab CI ec2 is created. Then the next step is go to the folder docker kube default, and then run this command to copy all the files. What it does is it basically copies. So I'll put a hash in the front. It'll be commented out. It will not run. If I do a ls, you can see that there are .sh files, .tf files, and there's a data folder and amazon.tf back. So all of these files I need to copy and put it in the directory in which I created. Right. So that's why I'm running this command to copy all the files. So meantime, I'll also do a. So there is nothing in this particular folder if you see it. So now I'm running this command. it will be automatically copied. And if I rerun the same command, the ls command, I'm able to see the list of files copied into this folder. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop the recording because I want to make the video a little short so that people can easily watch the video and then continue further. For now, I'll stop it.